What's happening, fellas? This is Mike D with Black Fathers Now. Now, dig this, man. We have a really dope conversation with a really interesting and eclectic brother with a whole lot of layers. He's going to really share some really unique stuff about his life, about his journey, but then how that's all come back to impact him as a dad. And this is none other than my man, Dynast Amir. He's originally from Sacramento, California. And from there, he went to University of Georgia, where he ran football and ran track and played football. He's a member of Kappa Alpha Psi fraternity. He's a world traveler, a curator of everything Africa, and he's the creator of Search for Uhuru on YouTube. And if you searched or Googled anything related to Africa, you've probably come across his YouTube feed, which really has a lot of dope stuff. And there's so much more that we're going to dive into as well. But fellas in the Black Fathers Now family, let's welcome my man Dynast Amir. How you doing, brother?
I'm good, brother. How you doing? Thank you for having me.
Man, I appreciate you for taking time out of your schedule in between your travels and all of that good stuff to come and chop it up with us on Black Fathers Now.
Yes, sir. Anytime. Thank you for having me.
No doubt, man. And, before we get started with the interviews, I always let the brothers give a shout out to their village because, it takes a village to raise a child. But shoot, as grown folks, we got villages around us, too. And so take a moment to kind of give a shout out to all those folks to help you do what you do on a regular basis, brother.
Yeah, I mean, just really the people who have been supporting Search for Uhuru since I guess officially started in September of 2014, roughly 2013, really started growing the platform and focusing on it heavily, and not until 2017. So, everyone who's been there since day one and who's been consistently coming into the live streams and super chatting and donating and Dynast, how can we help you here and how can we help you there? And, you know who you are. Thank you for the support, and shout out to the Kingdom of Otoruo, where I'm a prince at, Otoruo, Nigeria. By all means, guys, if you have if you're available, please come visit us in Nigeria, Otoruo, Nigeria. Make sure you shoot me an email, searchforuhuru@gmail.com. Love for people to come and check us out. Really appreciate it. So, those are the shout out. I'll be on here all day if I were to mention individual names. So
absolutely. And that's all of us. But my man, at least you put it out there. And I think it's important that we put that out front. Usually we wait to give our, salutations and all that at the end. I think it's important to put it up front to really show who we are and realize that, yes, we do it, but we ain't alone. So
yes, sir.
I appreciate you, brother. And so let's jump into your origin story, man. Like you said, you're born and raised in Sacramento, California, but then you just also mentioned that you're the Prince of Otoruo.
Yes, Otoruo, Nigeria.
Otoruo, Nigeria. So take us back to Sacramento and kind of your, growing up and everything. But then how did you get to this point? And then did you always know that you were a prince? And I just love the story, man. I'm all about the stories, brother. Talk to us a little bit.
Now, let's say born and raised Sacramento, California, April 15th, 1982. Grew up off of 21st Street in Florin. For those who know South Sac. Went to Christian Brothers High School. Went to Calvary Christian from kindergarten all the way through the 8th grade. Played football, ran track, excelled at that, which earned me an opportunity or a scholarship to go to University of Georgia. Played sports there, football and track. Graduated in 2005 with a degree in agricultural business. After I graduated, of course, I went through, a couple of years just trying to figure out what I wanted to do and what my purpose was here in life. And, just trying to, figure it out. So,
that's right.
Relocated to Atlanta, sold insurance, did very well at that. Then I wanted to dabble into modeling and acting. So naturally, what we're told is you got to go to LA for that. So left Atlanta, relocated to Los Angeles, California. Didn't like, I guess, the direction that the industry was going in, and really didn't like how the industry treated Black men. So, stopped that and went back to corporate America. Started doing sales for a company called Cintas. So once I So I started doing sales for Cintas and noticed that, started doing very well and started making, decent money. So I remember a friend of mine, really a couple friends of mine, one Fitzgerald Stevens, shout out to Fitzgerald Stevens. He said, Dynast, you're making good money, man. Go take a vacation. I said,
Mm.
okay. So, I'm like, all right, well, young single brother like myself, where should I go? So I
Uh-huh.
know all my boys with disposable income, they were going to Rio de Janeiro,
Okay.
and hooking up with racially ambiguous Brazilian women. So I'm like, okay, I'm about to get me a Brazilian chick too. You know what I
Uh-huh.
mean? I'm gonna go to Rio and give me a couple Brazilian chicks in a villa and have fun and walk around the beach and with swimming trunks and stuff.
Uh-huh.
Show
Uh-huh.
my six pack and run
See,
in the
I work
sun
for
with
it. Put it out there. You
yeah,
dig?
yeah, 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 yeah. My Brazilian speedos with beautiful Brazilian women flanking me and on my side. We gonna run through the beach.
Uh-huh.
So run on the beach. And so my friend, that she was gonna come with me. She said, Dynast, you know what? Something came up, I can't come. So I'm like, okay, so I don't want to go to Brazil by myself. So where am I gonna go? So another friend of mine, I called my other friend, his name is Yishak Abraham. I was like, yeah, man, I'm supposed to go to Brazil, ain't gonna happen. Trying to figure out what I'm gonna do. He said, man, go to Tanzania. I said,
Wow.
Tanzania? He's like, yeah, man, go to Tanzania, go to Africa, go to Tanzania, East Africa. I said, okay, all right. Let me think about it. So I started to do some research, and so there's an island off the coast of Tanzania called Zanzibar.
Yes, we've been there.
Okay, and
Mm.
so Zanzibar is also the name of a club in
Mm-hmm.
LA.
Okay.
I didn't know it was a real place. I just knew the club in LA.
Okay.
And
Dig
so
it.
I started looking at the beaches and looking at Zanzibar. I'm like, oh man, it's looking nicer than Rio. So I said,
Uh-huh.
all right, I'm going. So went to Tanzania, man, went to Africa, and I just absolutely fell in love with the place, man.
Mm.
So it was a corporate America. Every time I got vacation, man, I was on the continent. So went to Tanzania the first time, second time went to Tanzania. Then I hit up South Africa and Namibia. Then went back a third time with Senegal, Mali, Kenya, and I just started going back and forth, man.
Mm.
But the thing is, like when I was in corporate America, I would, obviously I had only 2 weeks vacation. Then I got it stretched out to 3 weeks. But that last day, it's like, okay, I can't wait till next year. Like I was living and working to get back to Africa every year.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
So
powerful.
it's like, when I left and would come back to America, I would be like, damn, I got to wait a whole nother 365 days to get back over
Wow.
here. So like I was just living for the continent. Then I had my son in 2014. So, my thing is, and I know we're going to get into, how my son or how your kids ties into this.
Mm-hmm.
Me personally, the direction America's going into, I want to ensure that he has resources ready for him
Mm.
in another continent just in case he needs to use them.
Mm.
The thing I try to teach people is America is not the end all be all.
Absolutely.
We have to get out of that train of thought. The Black American is the only person that does not think on an international level, which is a
Big time.
problem.
Big
Yeah,
time.
which is a problem. So I want to ensure for his future. Now, I would prefer to bring him up over there, but I just want to ensure that if something happens, see, Africa is my plan A.
Mm-hmm.
I
That's
want to
not your
make
plan
sure
B. That's your plan A.
that's my plan A. Africa's my plan A.
Mm.
So I want to make sure that if need be, he could get to the continent and integrate right in without
Mm.
having any issues or hiccups, just in case just in case something comes up. But I would rather, because this is the thing, people, Black people in America, there's a study saying that by the year 2053, the net worth of Black people is going to be $5 or something crazy
Yeah, something
as a
ridiculous.
collective.
Mm-hmm.
Real estate prices are going up. They're saying that, even here in Atlanta, where I live,
Mm-hmm.
I was shocked to hear. I read a story where in a majority Black city, only 25% of the real estate is owned by Black people.
Dude, even to that, I read something not too long ago, and it circulated a lot on social media, how I think Atlanta had the largest wealth disparity of any city in America. And I didn't believe it, because the cost of living in Atlanta is still dramatically less than living in LA, New York, San Francisco, whatever. But to hear that, and then it kind of plays into what you were saying as well in regards to, Blacks don't own a whole lot there, even in a Black city.
Right.
Interesting.
Right. And the thing is, the opportunity to own, if you're middle class here in America, you could live like a king in Africa if you could figure out a way to take that income with you.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
the opportunity to acquire assets in real estate in Africa is much more affordable than it is here in America.
Now, question to your point, you mentioned the concept of, kind of.
And real quick, I want to ask something real quick.
Okay, go
Everybody,
ahead.
just so you know, I was born Albert Horton Hollis II. So
Okay.
for all those that want to know, now I'm Prince Dynast Abefe Adewale Amir. All right, go ahead.
Okay, no, that's what's up. And I was going to ask that as well, because when I was doing a little bit of research or whatever, I found it was a different name, and you were going to jump into that a little bit as well, just to kind of see the whole process there. And so now, when you mentioned that you want your son to be prepared to, be able to integrate into Africa almost seamlessly,
Right.
should things go left here, or just if he chooses to, he should be able to integrate in there seamlessly. And you mentioned the concept of the cost of living, or being able to purchase. If you could take your income there, is basically you go from being middle class to being, very well off in another culture. My question is in regards to, like, for instance, the purchase of real estate and the understand, purchasing businesses and kind of getting integrated into that. What is that process like for an African American who basically has not had a whole lot of time, kind of integrating into society, but you're setting your son up for it, which is good. But for someone who doesn't have that, who's like, yo, I can take my 60 grand a year, and let's just say I can do it from anywhere, up and move. Like, what's the process like for a brother to do something like that?
Obviously you're going to a whole nother continent. The cost of real estate is less expensive by far, even in metropolitan cities. Like, for example, in Lagos, I would say, well, Lagos is the biggest, like one of the biggest cities in Africa, maybe the second or third largest outside of Cairo.
Absolutely.
I was looking at condos, 3-bedroom condos there, nice, for like $50,000.
Wow.
And like near the metropolitan city near my kingdom, Oshobo, you could build a nice baby mansion, 4 bedrooms, 4 baths, we'll say 3,000 square feet for like $60,000.
Really?
$65,000. Yeah. So it doesn't make sense to chase this elusive American dream. That's, it's always, the goalpost is always moving. It's like you have a small window here in America to really get that American dream, because again, the goalpost is always moving, where you could live an African dream, and it's more easier to get in if you have the resources, if you save your money up here in America, work your corporate job, don't trick off, don't blow your money.
Real talk.
And you shift that over to there. It just makes so much more sense.
And that's really interesting, because one of the things you mentioned a minute ago was the fact that Africa's your plan A, which
yeah, it's my plan A. Africa's my plan. I'm just here, because my son's still here, but I want to get him over there, and but it's plan A.
That's awesome. And the thing is, though, it changes the intention of the focus, because a lot of us, from an African-American perspective, would look at Africa as a plan B, or look at some international, living abroad somewhere as a plan B. You're looking at it as a plan A, which then kind of really shifts the way that you approach, everything as it pertains to that. And I think that's something that the brothers listening should pay attention to. When you put your focus, you put your attention towards something, it's kind of like you find what you seek. So if you're seeking that and that's your plan A, then doggone it, that's going to happen. And so brothers who are thinking of this, or this sounds appealing to you, make sure to take it from a plan B and plan C, plan D, and kind of put it on the front burner and start really thinking about it. Because remember, brother said, I worked every year to get back to Africa. That's powerful. Like that in itself is a powerful concept.
To make sure my son's, good, but that's why I work. Yeah.
Wow. And so you've traveled all throughout. Now, how many countries have you hit all 54 or?
No.
Okay.
I'm at like 13 or 14, something like that.
Okay. And then you also mentioned that, now your name is Prince Dynast, and I missed the middle, Amir.
Abefe
Adewale.
Amir.
Now, is this through your genetic lineage? Like, are your parents from this area in Nigeria, or how did that come about? How did that process?
Well, I think for Black Americans, because of the slave trade, how of what we were put through. As far as DNA and whatnot, we're from all over West Africa. There
Absolutely.
isn't just one single tribe or country that you could be from because of just, I
So it
mean,
all got
literally
mixed. Yeah,
how we were bred it. I mean, literally, we were
100%.
bred it. How we were
Mhm.
bred it. Just keep it real. So yes, some of my family was discovered is from the kingdom of Otoruo, that area.
Okay.
So I went. That we had my coronation. They made me a prince. I was afforded my citizenship. And now, I have a responsibility to serve the people of Otoruo.
Wow. Now, and where is Oruro in comparison to Lagos?
It's probably I would say without traffic, we'll say probably like 3.5, 4 hour drive. That would be southeast
Okay.
of Lagos.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oruro. And so, okay. And then it's interesting. Like, so my wife and I, and this is funny. I'm actually, when you were talking Tanzania, I was trying to figure out where I got exposed to you. And I know where it was. When my wife and I went to Tanzania in 2016, we went to Zanzibar. We also went to Dar es Salaam and the Morogoro region and went to a safari and then hung out in Dar es Salaam. I mean, we did a few days there just kind of diving into the culture itself. And before we went, one of the things, I think I saw a video of yours and it stood out to me because you know how they have the night food market, the night food. What was it? What's the
Yeah, I know, talking about by the water
by
in
the water,
Zanzibar.
right? And so I was looking, I was like, dang, that's what we really want to do when we get to Zanzibar. And I remember you did a video, and one of the things you were talking about, and it was interesting because it was in the midst of a lot of everybody talking about everybody's vegan and doing this and doing that. I think you were saying something to the effect that, look, ain't nobody vegan over here, man. They eat whatever, and
Right.
yeah, it was something to that extent. And that really
Right, exactly, huh?
it kind of piqued my interest. But then it was ironic because then when we got to to Zanzibar, they actually had to shut it down because they had like a cholera outbreak. So they had to kind of shut the market
Okay.
down. Yeah. So it was not going on when we got to Zanzibar.
Oh, really? So the seafood, where they're selling seafood, they shut it down.
They had shut it down for that time period because I guess they had a few cases of cholera at the time. So they just shut it down. The government did. So it wasn't there and we wanted to do it, but it is what it is. But I think I was just hearing when you were talking about it, it's kind of went back and made me think that was my exposure to you from the jump off to kind of get into the search for Uhuru, and just kind of really learning a little bit more about you. Speaking of that, search for Uhuru. Talk to us a little bit about that, the inspiration for it, and and then also what does the name itself mean?
All right, so Uhuru means freedom in Swahili.
Okay.
So I remember the first time I went to Tanzania, like when I got off the plane, like I didn't know what to expect.
Uh-huh.
So I remember I got off the plane, went through passport control, got my visa, went and got my bags, walked outside of outside of the terminal. And I remember the Tanzanians coming up to me and just looking at me.
Mm-hmm.
And then they started speaking Swahili.
Mm-hmm.
And, I kind of looked at them like, I don't understand. And so then they started asking like, where are you from? They said, so they assumed I was South African first.
Okay.
Then they thought I was a Nigerian, which I am now, but I wasn't back then. Then they thought I was Ghanaian.
Mm-hmm.
And then, I had to tell them, no, I'm a Black American.
Mm-hmm.
And then they were like, okay, what tribe are you from? And I had
Ah.
to tell them because of what happened because of the slave trade, like a lot of us
We
don't
didn't know.
know.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So, then I was getting asked that often, like, because to them, it's like, you don't know what tribe you're from. You don't know where you're from.
That's big. That's real. That's real. I remember.
Yeah. And I'm just like, no, because of the slave trade. Even when I was in Senegal last year, the guy was like, he couldn't believe that I didn't know what tribe I was from. I was like, well, I do now, but he's like, I can't believe what tribe you're from. And I had to explain to him because of the slave trade. A lot of that we were disconnected from. So it's just, I started search for Uhuru, meaning searching for freedom, like finding out where am I from, who am I. Once I find that, I'll have this sense of freedom. So that's where search for Uhuru that came from.
That's powerful, man. And it's interesting to, I can remember when my wife and I went to Tanzania, that was one of the things, like, everybody had a tribal connection. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, that is so interesting. And it's like drawing back memories, because I can remember that directly as well. Just the concept of, what tribe are you from, or what is your tribal lineage? I mean, like, everybody knows that. And that's their connection. I guess here in America, like African Americans, I guess our tribal nature is connected to our geographic location. Like, I'm from
Right.
Augusta, Georgia originally. So, I'm connected to everybody from Augusta, or, you're from Sacramento. So folks there would connect to that. So
Yeah.
that's an interesting concept. And I think that's
Right.
something that we all, as African Americans, because of the slave trade, have the desire to get back and have some direct connection to, so that we kind of have that sense of self, so that we can ultimately get to our own Uhuru.
Right.
That's
Exactly.
that's real talk. That's real talk. And so, what has been, from the standpoint of doing the search for Uhuru, what has been one of the biggest aha moment for yourself? Because again, you're going through this journey, and it's, you're creating media that's helping other people. What has
Right.
been the biggest realization that you've come to learn or experience in doing this over the last few years?
It's a couple. Number one, that it's just the connection as far as what we call Black American culture to the root of Africa, like the connection of it. Certain things that we do that they still do over there. Like, for example, the Holy Ghost, the Holy Spirit
Mm-hmm.
in church.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's when people get, I guess, when they get mounted by a spirit
Mm-hmm.
in voodoo or an Ifa, the same thing happens. So I'm like, okay, that's
The
where this
connection.
comes from. The
Mm-hmm.
connection. It's just there's a strong connect. That, and then another thing too, they have no clue where you're from until you open your mouth. So
Wow.
wherever I go in Africa, until I open my mouth, they don't know that I'm this Black American guy.
Mm.
Like I was in Namibia and I was with the Himba, and they thought I was just one of the kids coming back from summer break, coming back home for school break. And my guide had to tell them, like, no, he's not from here. And like, they didn't want to
Wow.
believe him. And then I was speaking English. You're like, okay, he's bougie now. He doesn't want to speak the language. And I'm like, no, I don't.
Uh-huh.
I'm not him.
Uh-huh.
So I just think how, even though some say we're not connected to Africa, but how so much connected we still are. So.
That's powerful. And it's interesting because, as a person, or if folks have never stepped foot on the continent, you don't understand that.
Right.
And that's why it's so important for us. And I mean, I think I know they have the right now it's the year of return. I think Ghana's doing the year of
Right.
return for, a lot of African Americans. And aren't they giving like citizenship or something? It's some kind of
Well, if you've been living there for a while now, they're starting to give it to you, but there's no clear cut path to citizenship.
Okay. Okay. Well, but it's just interesting because, at least with that, the marketing and the media is basically kind of making a lot of African Americans who did not consider going back and touching down on the continent, is giving everyone the inspiration to go and do so, which is a good thing. And because the thing is, like you mentioned, like Dynast mentioned, dude, when you step there, it's like folks don't know where you're from until you open your mouth. And as you walk the streets of, I've only been to Tanzania, but as you walk the streets of Dar es Salaam, and you see all shades, all sizes, all complexions, dressed all kind of different ways, you don't know. You don't know
Right.
whether you're in, a guy. I mean, you don't know if you're on the south side of, Atlanta, or whether you're in New York, or whether you're in somewhere on the continent of Africa. I mean, that's the beauty of it all. It's just, but you got to get there to see that. And I think I encourage every brother listening to make it a plan to at least touch down on the continent of Africa at some point in your life. One of the things that my wife and I have made it a point to do is we want our kids to touch every continent in the world, minus Antarctica, before they finish high school. And part of that is understanding that the world is much bigger than their neighborhood, or bigger than their city. But it's just the whole notion of learning how to connect with folks of all different backgrounds. And I really think that, to your point, and you're really encouraging me from the continent of Africa's perspective, to even go deeper there. So yes, we can touch down everywhere else, but not just in one spot on the continent of Africa, because it's so diverse. There's so many different scenarios, cultures, tribes. And it was interesting when we went to Tanzania, very few, I don't think we met any brother or sister in Tanzania that had left Tanzania. And that was the thing that's interesting. And so to me, that opens up this window that each area or each country is going to bring its own unique culture, even if it butts up against the country that you went to visit. Do you find that when you travel to the different countries, how there are different nuances culturally,
Oh
even
yeah.
with the
Yeah, I
country next to
mean,
it?
but yeah, absolutely. It's even like that here in America. Me coming from Sacramento to Athens, Georgia,
Oh boy,
that was that was different.
that's culture, bro.
That was different.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I mean, yeah. So that's gonna be pretty much everywhere you go. Like even here in the States, there are gonna be some things that are just completely different. Like me, I used to put growing up, I put sugar in my grits. When I came to Georgia, mother looked at me, I was crazy.
Man, I'm gonna tell you. Look, first off, you get halfway kudos for the fact that you come from not being in the South and you eat grits to begin with. So first off, we're gonna be like, all right,
The thing is, we see over there, we ate cream of wheat in America.
there it
In
is.
Sacramento, we ate cream of wheat and oatmeal.
Uh
I made grits maybe once or twice
huh. Uh huh.
when I was growing up in Sacramento, maybe once or twice, and I hated them.
Uh huh.
So when I came to Georgia, I'm just so used to putting sugar in my cream of wheat and my oatmeal. I put it in my grits, and they looked at me like I was crazy. Like, oh, you put sugar in your grits? Little things like you go to a banquet in
Uh-huh.
Georgia, all they have is water and iced tea. I hate iced tea.
Uh-huh.
You know what I mean? It's just little nuances like that. Like people just love their tea in the South versus in
Uh-huh.
the North. Like, nobody drinks tea like that. I mean, I'm sorry, in Sacramento, no
Uh-huh.
one drinks tea like that. There's just little things.
Yeah, but I guess, but to your point, is nuances showing how there are various nuances in the different areas here in America. The same thing is apparent when you go to the continent with countries that are right next to each other. You would assume that everything looks kind of similar, but you go from one country to the next, there are nuances there as well. So, but that's why we need to get there and not just hit one spot, but hit different areas and engage with brothers and sisters from all around. And so based on all your experiences, I know you mentioned, your son was born in 2014?
2013.
2013.
Sorry. Yeah,
Yes.
December 5th, 2013.
Gotcha. So 2013, with all these travels and really taking this thing from a different perspective, how has this impacted you as a dad? How has this impacted you as a father outside of wanting to set your kid up? Like we mentioned earlier, how has this impacted you?
I think for a lot of dads here in America, it's like, okay, you have your kid, you want to send them to the best private schools, in the community or in the area sometime, or the best school period. But what I've noticed is like the schools in Africa, as far as education, are at a much higher level than they are than America. If you notice, a lot of when African immigrants come to America, as far as education wise, they excel. And I just feel as if the education system here in America is made to just dumb you down or to give you enough, even if you're in AP courses, to give you enough just to get by, versus in Africa where it's like it's life or death. Like education over there is life or death. So,
Real talk.
sending your kid to a boarding school, like you have some of the best boarding schools in Nigeria. And the thing is, like I have friends or family members who send their kids to private school in America. They're paying like $20,000 per year.
It's crazy. Yeah.
Which is, I'm like crazy, but you could send them to a boarding school in Africa. That's great for like $500 per month, which is like,
Yeah, $6,000 a year.
yeah, $6,000 a year, which isn't bad.
Wow.
But once you notice the differences in education, then you realize how a lot of African immigrants are able to come to America and excel the way they are.
Now, are you now? I mean, speaking of that, are you looking to put your son in like a like a boarding school?
I would love to.
Okay.
I would love to. So.
Gotcha. That's powerful, man. I mean, and the thing too, though, again, exposure leads to opportunity. And if you don't ever open up the blinders to see what's out there, you never would realize a scenario like that. Because again, everybody thinks that, we're the this and we're the that, but ultimately you don't realize that we're only the this and the that because we're comparing to ourselves. We're not opening up and scaling and looking and seeing that, there are other ways to operate. And just because someone else finds success one way doesn't mean that that's the way that you have to find success.
Right.
That's pretty dope, man. So, dude, you got a lot of stuff going on. You really have a dope YouTube channel. I mean, a huge presence on social media. Is there anything else, because we're speaking to brothers, speaking to Black fathers, the concept of this podcast is called Black Fathers Now, bringing the village to the brothers. And so we like to bring insight, inspiration, and wisdom that brothers can think about and take action on right now. Is there anything else that you like to leave with the brothers, as we kind of wrap this thing up, my man?
I mean, I would say for the brothers that America's not the end all be all. I mean, I think that's the biggest thing. Just because you're not so-called successful here doesn't mean that with a change of environment, you can't be successful somewhere else. So I would say, spread your horizons, seek opportunity outside of America, and, you'll thank me for it.
That's what's up, man. And how can the brothers follow you, connect with you? Is there anything that, we can support you on going forward?
Yeah, search for Uhuru. It's all one phrase. Search for Uhuru, Uhuru. So let me turn my phone off. Sorry about that.
You're good, man. You're good.
Yeah, so search for Uhuru. All one phrase. That's search for Uhuru. Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. Hit me up there. Working on rebranding the site, but search for Uhuru.com still up. Also go to dynastamir.com. If you go on Amazon, search my name, Dynast Amir. That's Dynast Amir, Amir on Amazon. My books are there that I've written. So, I'm working on a lot, but what I'm trying to do is try to put everything in one spot so people don't have to go. So hopefully all that will be done by the end of this weekend. So
that's end of this weekend. Boy, you taking action, bro. Look, I'm talking.
I'm gonna say yes and no because I've been reading about it for so long.
Okay.
So yeah, but no, because it needs to be done because there's so much, and I kind of want to consolidate everything in one spot for everybody, so they don't have to go. They just go to one spot and find everything versus going.
Keeping it simple, dude. Right. I'm the same way, dude. Like I have stuff all over the place, but just kind of streamlining it. You just go to one place, everything's there. Yeah, I 100%. And you got a little bit of grace on this because, this is dropping in a few weeks. So by the time this drops, you should all be able to go to the dynastamir.com.
Everything's going to be at dynastamir.com. So you go there and then, it'll direct you to everything else. So, in about a week, dynastamir.com, go there and,
All right, so we're going to hold this feature to fire then, fellas, because this is dropping in a few weeks. So if you go to dynastamir.com, when this thing drops, it ain't live, get at your boy. Hit him.
Oh, yeah, get at me. By all means, hold me accountable.
Yeah, like, look here, fam. Look, you said.
Hold me accountable, yeah.
That's what's up, man. But, dude, man, hey, I appreciate you for taking time out of your schedule. I appreciate you for inspiring us to think outside the box, but then to also think about restructuring plan B, C, and D, and start thinking about plan A, because whatever your plan A is, that's where your attention, that's where your heart, and that's where your focus is. So I appreciate you, man, for doing that for us, for putting out dope content that really makes us think and really inspires us to take action. So I appreciate you. I salute you, and we're going to encourage you to keep on keeping on, my brother.
I appreciate it.
All right, my man. Thank you so much. Now, fellas, continue to follow Black Fathers Now on all the social media outlets. Make sure to visit my man Dynast Amir at dynastamir.com, and you can search for Uhuru, Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. Literally on YouTube, fellas, I know some ladies listen to, but fellas, literally subscribe to his YouTube channel. He has all kind of videos. If you like, like those food videos where dudes are going around cooking and trying food all over the world, this brother's doing this on the continent of Africa, doing some dope stuff, man. It makes you really want to try stuff. Like you're in the kitchen trying to cook stuff and can't find it in the grocery store, but anyway, it's all good. Make sure to search for Uhuru on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube, and let him know that you heard about him on Black Fathers Now, and really just encourage him to continue doing what he's doing, because he's encouraging all of us to think outside the box, to basically break the box down and move forward in the right way. So as always, fellas, continue to subscribe, share this thing out, iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, anywhere you listen to podcasts. And until next time, y'all be blessed, well, and wise. And I'll holler at you. Peace.